Okay, 4-3, factoring trinomials with a shortcut. So use splitting the middle to factor out. So it says we want to factor this out, splitting the middle. So we're using what we did yesterday. Make the x, multiplication on the top, addition on the bottom. 1 times 30 is 30 and 11. So what multiplies to 30 and adds to 11? Hopefully you go through your factors. 1 and 30, no. 2 and 15, no. 3 and 10, no. 4 doesn't go in. 5 and 6, so look at that. Okay, so now we're going to split the middle and replace this with 5x plus 6x plus 30 and the x squared, and we're going to group. And the GCF of the first group is x, and that will give us x plus 5. And the second group is 6, and that will give us x plus 5. And we smile because they match, and we get x plus 5 times x plus 6. And it says, what do you notice about the integer values in your factored form? So what do you notice about these numbers, and where do they connect? Where are they related to? Hopefully you said, oh, look, that's interesting. This number and these numbers are the same. Okay, so basically I call those the magic numbers. The magic numbers are the factors. So now let's look at another example. So we make our x, and we do first times last is 12, and the middle is -8. What multiplies to 12 and adds to -8? So let's do 1 and 12. No. 2 and 6. 2 and 6 will work if it's -2 and -6. So let's split the middle and make it x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. Group the first two and take out an x. And group the second two and take out a -6. And then we have a factor of x minus 2, x minus 6. And what do you notice about that one? Again, this and this are these values. So it says, form a conjecture about the values of m, n, b, and c. Okay, if mn plus bx equals c. So if there's an a term here, there's no a term, a is 1. Okay, then if a, so let's say if a equals 1, then a times c or sorry, if a equals 1, then you know that the terms here are going to give us the bx. So let's look at this one. And we take our a times c, which is 21, and our b is -22. And what multiplies to 21 and adds to -22 would be -21 and -1. So then that's going to become our factors. So x minus 21 and x minus 1. Okay, so those are our factors because this is called the shortcut method. It only works if a is 1. Okay, so it only works if a is 1. If a is 1, then you can take your factors and those become your factors. And you can check x squared minus 1x minus 21x and then plus 21. And you'll see x squared minus 22x plus 21. It works. Okay, so if you are doing this and you have a leading coefficient, a is 1, your factors, your split the middle factors are the solutions, or the factors, sorry, are the values. So first times last, -24. Middle is -2. What multiplies to -24 and adds to -2? -6 and +4. So then we go to our answer, x minus 6, x plus 4, and then we check x squared plus 4x minus 6x minus 24. By the way, you can use tabular method if you'd rather to do this multiplication instead of distributive. It works either way. And if you look, the middle two will simplify to -2x, and it works. So again, your factors, this is called shortcut method. It only works if a is 1. So let's look at the next one. 1 times -48 is -48. and 13. What multiplies to negative 48 and adds to 13? So 1 and 48 will not work. 2 and 24, nope. 3 and 16. So we have negative 3 and positive 16 in order to get a positive 13. So x minus 3, x plus 16. Once again, the 3 and the 16 will make the 13. 3 times 16 is 48. And we have our factors. And then we have 44 and 15. So 1 and 44, nope. 2 and 22, no. 3 doesn't go in. 4 and 11. So we have x plus 4, x plus 11. When you see how you see I'm counting starting with 1, when we're doing factors and you're trying to find factors and you have 44, again, start with 1 times 44, then go to 2. Does that go in? Yes, 22. 3 doesn't go in. 4 is 11, and you could keep going with this pattern. That's the easiest way to find those numbers. Otherwise, if you're just guessing numbers, you're going to lose track of your organization. So there's our answer to that one. And then the next one, we've got negative 35 and negative 2. So negative 7 and 5 will work. So x minus 7, x plus 5. That would make negative 2 and negative 35. So it says, use the examples from above to help respond to following questions. If in this C is negative, so if C is negative, what can we say about the signs of our factored form? So this has a negative C, this one has a negative C, this one has a negative C. What do you notice about the signs? One negative, one positive, one negative, one positive, one negative, and one positive. So there's one negative and one positive. Okay, in order to get a negative, we need one positive, one negative, right? It's the only way to multiply to a negative, so that should make sense. So either has to be a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive. If C is positive and B is positive, so that's like example D, C and B are both positive, what do you notice about the signs? They're both positive. Okay, so a positive times a positive is going to give me a positive. And if C is positive and B is negative, so C is positive and B is negative, which I think, yeah, that happened on A. So C is positive, B is negative. What do you notice about the signs? They're both negative. Because a negative times a negative will give us a positive when we multiply, but a negative plus a negative will give us a negative. Okay, so just be aware of thinking about the signs when you're figuring out your factors and what's going to happen.